with Chris Cottle, Vice President of Marketing at Allegiance, and our discussion point today will be on mobile feedback. Is it worth doing? Chris, as a growing number of organizations have become more active in conducting mobile marketing, does it make sense for them to set up mobile feedback loops with their customers?
Well, that's a good question, and we get asked that type of question in lots of different areas of the business that we're in, the feedback management business. And I think the answer for mobile is similar to what we would say with other areas, channels or mediums, which is, you need to look at your demographics. If your demographic audience, your customer base, or whoever you're selling to is using mobile, there's a good chance that they would be receptive to giving you feedback through a mobile interface, and that customer experience is really what's going to be driving that. The other thing to consider is when we're talking about mobile, that has become a broad term. With the introduction and the mass adoption that's happening right now of a smartphone, we say mobile, but it really segregates into regular traditional phones or those that are smartphones. And the reason that it matters is that you have a phone survey that's outbound to somebody, or you could have an IVR, an interactive voice recorded type survey that's initiated at a point of contact or a transactional point of contact. You can have text or SMS messages that go out, and they're very short but very powerful, but only appropriate for certain demographics. You can have email and internet links. These are the type of demographic considerations. So I would say for some industries, it's going to be perfect, and they're ready for it right now. Some of the trends that we're seeing that would, I think, support that question or help answer the question you asked. The browsers in today's smartphones are better, literally better than most average desktops. They have HTML and the rich browsing experience and media capabilities and local data storage. So there's some really powerful trends on the technology side that are happening right now. 17% of the phones that are being sold right now are smartphones, which is a huge jump from even just a year ago, and it will continue. I can tell you the forecasts right now are showing that it's just going to continue on a very fast roar of growth for the next little while. And, of course, smartphone companies are using the auto-detected websites. So when you as a company are thinking about your demographics and you're thinking, well, should we have an experience that's available for people on the web on their smartphones? The beautiful thing is, the auto-detect capability, if you design your surveys right to work on a smartphone user experience in that sort of environment, it will be a good experience. And there's companies like Amazon, certain restaurant companies that are getting a lot of feedback from people, especially in technology-rich geographic areas like Silicon Valley and others, where they're experiencing a whole new unexpected phase of growth because they are catering to the mobile groups of people.
Even with that trajectory and growth for mobile phone use and smartphone use, are there client concerns you're hearing about the ROI potential with mobile feedback investments at this stage?
Yes, there are. A lot of what we're doing for companies right now is helping them on a one-on-one basis to look at their data sets and their demographics and creating with them, and in some cases for them, so they can take it into their executive teams, needs analysis and use case scenarios where we can do an evaluation of their particular business and help them understand whether it's the right timing or not for them. It's fair to say that most clients are not dropping everything else that they do only to do mobile. Like anything that's new and untested, they start small and they limit the negative impact, but if testing goes well, then they can roll out more. I think the best way to get bang for your buck is to correlate survey response rate and customer experience against overall customer retention and purchase volume. These aren't necessarily complex measurements by any means, and we're used to doing them all the time with clients, but it's something that we work with and we help to measure and to map out in their world using their data. And I think that's pretty important. Whenever you're a VOC manager, a voice of the customer manager, or a feedback manager, and you're thinking about mobile, you need to really look hard at that data and be prepared to do some mapping. Be prepared to make that ROI case because it is a new arena. I don't think that's surprising to anybody that's out there.
What are some other considerations that chief marketing officers and other decision makers should address before embarking upon mobile feedback efforts?
Well, I think the first thing is to realize that today's customer is really in charge of the conversation. They want to speak to a company in the channel or the medium of their choice, and the smartphone is really the new platform from which people will communicate and run much of what they do in life. And so for many industries like retail and restaurants and even telecom, smartphones represent probably the best new frontier for them to differentiate themselves and to provide service and brand growth and to win customer loyalty, because that's the environment that's primed and ready and their customers are kind of expecting that. But many customers may already be using a mobile environment, a mobile phone, much more than our clients or anyone out there might be expecting. I saw a stat the other day that AT&T has experienced a 50 times data traffic increase just in the past 3 years. So the adoption is happening. You know, if you look at the trends that have been going on, in the 1950s it was mainframe computing, and there were certain winners. And in the 60s it was mini computing. In the 80s it was personal computing. And in the 90s it's desktop computing. And the winners there were, Google and eBay and Yahoo, etc. Right now we're in the start of the phase of the mobile internet computing environment. And who the winners will be, it's hard to say from a vendor standpoint. There will be a lot. But I think from a company standpoint, those companies who are ready, willing, and able to really embrace something new and think about it in a smart way, well, they'll come up with some differentiating points. It's just common sense, though. Don't jump into something without really thinking it through and doing some data analysis. Make a good case. If you can't make a case on paper for why this would make sense, then it's probably not going to pay off for you later on. And the other thing that I'd like to throw out there is to be bold and be brave, because it's happening right now. So, whether you think it's perfect for you now or not, it's not really a question of if, it's a question of when.
Definitely trends for us to keep tracking. Chris, thanks so much for your feedback on this.